tale without warning is tyranny. To give careless orders and be strict when the day comes is robbery. To be stingy in rewarding men is littleness. The master said, a man who is blind to doom can be no gentleman. Without a knowledge of courtesy, we must want foothold. Without a knowledge of words, there is no understanding men. Yao said, Hail to thee, Shun. The number that the heavens are telling falls on thee. Keep true hold of the golden mean. Should there be stress or want within the four seas, the gift of heaven is past forever. Will pass forever. Shun laid the same commands on you. Tiang said, I, thy child Li, make bold to offer this black stare, and make bold to proclaim before thee, Almighty Lord, and I dare not forgive sin nor hold down thy servants. Master said to leave untaught and kill is cruelty. To a civil tale without warning is tyranny. To give careless orders and Chu bestowed great gifts, and good men grew rich. Loving hearts are better than men that are near of kin. All the people throw the blame upon me alone. You attended to weights and measures, revised the laws, and restored broken officers. On all sides order reigned. He revived states that had perished, and gave back fiefs that had reverted. He called forth men from hiding. All hearts below heaven turned to him. The people's food, burials, and worship he held to be of moment. His bounty gained the many, his truth won the people's trust, his earnestness brought success, his justice made men glad. Tzu Cheng asked Confucius, how should men be governed? The master said, he who would govern men must honor the five graces, spurn the four vices. Tzu Chang said, what are the five graces? The master said, a gentleman is kind but not wasteful. He burdens but does not embitter. He is covetous, not sordid, high-minded, not proud. He inspires awe, not fear. Tzu Cheng said, what is meant by kindness without waste? Okay, we're just going to do Lao Tzu's Dao De Jing. I'm creating audiobook snippets. The highest virtue is not virtuous, therefore it truly has virtue. The lowest virtue never loses sight of its virtue, therefore it has no true virtue. The highest virtue takes no action, yet it has no reason for acting this way. The highest humanity takes action, yet it has no reason for acting this way. The highest righteousness takes action, and it has its reasons for acting this way. The highest propriety takes action, and when no one responds to it, then it angrily rolls up its sleeves and forces people to comply. Therefore, when the way is lost, only then do we have virtue. When virtue is lost, only then do we have humanity. When humanity is lost, only then do we have righteousness. And when righteousness is lost, only then do we have propriety. As for propriety, it's but the thin edge of loyalty and sincerity and the beginning of disorder. And for knowledge is but the flower of the way and the beginning of stupidity. Therefore, the great man. Therefore, the great man dwells in the thick and doesn't dwell in the thin, dwells in the fruit and doesn't dwell in the flower. Therefore, he rejects that and takes this. Of those in the past that attained the one, heaven by attaining the one became clear, earth by attaining the one became stable, Gods, by attaining the one, became divine. Valleys, by attaining the one, became full. Marquis and kings, by attaining the one, made the whole land ordered and secure. Taking this to its logical conclusion, we would say if heaven were not by means of it cleared, it would, I'm afraid, shatter. If the earth were not by means of it stable, it would, I am afraid, let go. If the gods were not by means of it divine, they would, I'm afraid, be powerless. If valleys were not by means of it full, they would, I'm afraid, dry up. If marquis and kings were not by means of it noble, therefore the great. And if marquis and kings were not by means of it noble and high, they would, I am afraid, topple and fall. Therefore it must be the case that the noble has the base as its root, and it must be the case that the high has the low for its foundation. Thus for this reason marquis and kings call themselves the orphan, the widower, and the one without grain. This is taking the base as one's root, is it not? Therefore they regard the large numbers of carriages as having no carriage, and because of this they desire not to dazzle and glitter like jade, but to remain firm and strong like stone. When the highest type of men hear the way with diligence, they're able to practice it. When average men hear the way, some things they retain and others they lose. When the lowest type of men hear the way, they laugh out loud at it. If they didn't laugh at it, it couldn't be regarded as the way. Therefore, there is a set saying about this that goes, the bright way appears to be dark. Therefore, there is a set saying about this that goes, the bright way appears to be dark, the way that it goes forward appears to retreat. The smooth way appears to be uneven, the highest virtue is empty like a valley, the purest white appears to be soiled, vast virtue appears to be insufficient, firm virtue appears thin and weak, the simplest reality appears to change. The great square has no corners, the great vessel takes long to complete, the great tone makes little sound, the great image has no shape, the way is great but has no name. Only the way is good at beginning things and also good at bringing things to completion. Reversal is the movement of the Tao. Weakness is the function of the Tao. The things of the world originate in being, and being originates in non-being. There is a set saying about this that we are reading the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu. The way gave birth to the one gave birth to the two gave birth to the three, and the three gave birth to the 10,000 things. The 10,000 things carry yin on their backs and wrap their arms around yang. Through the blending of chi, they arrive at a state of harmony. The things that are hated by the whole world are to be orphaned, widowed, and have no grain. Yet kings and dukes take these as their names. Thus with all things, some are increased by taking away, while some are diminished by adding on. Therefore, what other men teach, I will also consider and then teach to others. Thus the strong and violent do not come to a natural end. I will take this as the father of my studies. The softest, most pliable thing in the world runs roughshod around the firmest thing in the world. That which has no substance gets into that which has no spaces or cracks. I therefore know that there is benefit in taking no action. The wordless teaching the benefit of taking no action, few in the world can realize this. Fame or your health, which is more dear? Your health or possessions, which is worth more? Gain or loss, in which is there harm? Your desires are great. If your desires are great, you're bound to be extravagant. If you store much away, you're bound to lose a great deal. Therefore, if you know contentment, you'll not be disgraced. If you know when to stop, you'll suffer no harm, and in this way you can last a very long time. Great completion seems incomplete, yet its usefulness is never exhausted. Great fullness seems to be empty, yet its usefulness is never used up. That which has no Great straightness seems to be bent, great skill seems to be clumsy, great eloquence seems to stammer, great surplus seems to be lacking. Activity overcomes cold, tranquility overcomes heat. If you're quiet and tranquil, you can become the ruler of the world. When the world has the way, ambling horses are retired to fertilize fields. When the world lacks the way, war horses are reared in the suburbs. Of crimes, none is greater than having things that one desires. Of disasters, none is greater than not knowing when one has enough. Of defects, none brings more sorrow than the desire to attain. Therefore, the contentment one has when he knows that he has enough is abiding contentment indeed. No need to leave your door to know the whole world. No need to peer through your windows to know the way of heaven. Farther you go, the less you know. Therefore the sage knows without going, names without seeing, and completes without doing a thing. Those who work at their studies increase day after day. Those who have heard the Tao decrease day after day. They decrease and decrease till they get to the point where they do nothing. They do nothing, and yet there's nothing left undone. When someone wants to take control of the world, he must always be unconcerned with affairs. For in a case where he's concerned with affairs, he'll be unworthy as well of taking control of the world. The sage constantly has no set mind. He takes the mind of the common people as his mind. Those who are good he regards as good. Those who are not good he also regards as good. In this way he attains goodness. Those who are trustworthy he trusts, and those who are not trustworthy he also trusts. In this way he gets their trust. As for the sage's presence in the world, he is one with it. Therefore the sage knows without going. And with the world he merges his mind. The common people all fix their eyes and ears on him, and the sage treats them all as his children. We come out into life and go back into death. The companions of life are 13. The companions of death are 13. Yet people, because they regard life as life, in all of their actions move toward the 13 that belong to the realm of death. Now, why is this so? It's because they regard life as life. You've no doubt heard of those who are good at holding on to life. When walking through hills, they don't avoid rhinos and tigers. When they go into battle, they don't put on armor or shields. The rhino has no place to probe with its horn. The tiger finds no place to put its claws, and weapons find no place to hold their blades. Now, why is this so? Because there is no place for death in them. The way gives birth to them, and virtue nourishes them. Substance gives them form, and their unique capacities complete them. And with the world he merges his mind. Common people will fix their eye. Juan, do you have a time today? This week? Thanks, John. It's not spam. Oh, it's positive vibrations. It's positive vibrations. It's positive vibrations. Oh, I like that. Oh, you should read it. Just a book suggestion for you. Oh, spam ended. Oh, just a book suggestion for you to create content with. Oh, yeah, I'm so sad. Oh, yeah. Adam Angry. Oh, who is this? John. Adam angry. Yeah, a little bit. Shut up. The master said a gentleman is kind. The master. Man, I'm Carl Payton and Kim Cup series. You know, pay you up, game changer. Where's Kim Cups at? Some of the pink Kim. Spam ended. Oh, you should read it. Just a book suggestion. Oh, just a book suggestion for you to create content. Spam ended. It's positive vibrations. Oh, we come out into life and back into death. Hey, it's John Kiddo. I mean, he told you. Oh. Oh, wisdom. Didn't even get through all these yet. Oh my gosh. If he was wise, you can spam me. Mm. Just a book suggestion for you. Just a book suggestion for you to create content with spam ended. You're so sweet. The master. The master said, a gentleman is kind but not wasteful. He burdens but does not embitter. He is covetous, not sordid. High-minded, not proud. He inspires awe, not fear. Or not heads of the gym. Shortly, and maybe what are you doing today? What are you doing today? What are you doing today for this evening? Do sunset yoga.
Nothing with the substance.
Your voice.
Oh, here's another like imp here.
No, but she was literally chastising him for not having read the specific philosopher that she brought up. He wasn't even criticizing the view. He was reporting his experience when he had talked with people who held the view. He wasn't even saying Frankish's illusionism is silly, in which case it would be reasonable to respond to him, well, you should at least have read Frankish. But if he's just saying, well, I've heard people talk about illusionism before, and when I press them in conversation, they usually tell me they're a weak illusionist. And then for her to say, well, you need to have read Keith Frankish to make any comment whatsoever pertaining to illusionism, it's just ridiculous.
Did she say that? Did anyone hear her say that?
In other words, but yeah, she did. That was
in other words, I'm sorry.
But that is the point. It's like Sam is making a comment about illusionism. It's like, well, don't talk about it if you haven't read this specific work, which came out last year. It's like, I mean, it's completely ridiculous. Like, yeah, just, if you want to say anything about the Dementors, you need to keep up with the field. Like, as papers are coming out.
Do you think you need to read the Bible to make a comment about what Christians study?
What are you saying? Zeleny was just defending Brenda being ridiculous in his normal, dishonest way.
Except your misrepresentation was like her point.
You called on the audience to corroborate you, and everyone who spoke contradicted you.
I called on the audience to corroborate.
Yeah, you literally did. You called in response.
Like, do you need to like seek like professional help? Why did you claim these like ridiculous things that
everyone heard it happen? It's on replay. You called on the audience. You're like, did anyone else hear her say that? And then everyone contradicted you.
What she said, and it's a replay that you like fully lied, that she said something, and then the only guy who confirmed your lie was Nahmat, saying, yeah, she did say that, but not in those words, meaning she did not say that.
What? No one claimed it was a verbatim quote. That's extreme dishonesty. And then the second thing is that both Nomad and Sasha were cooperating.
No, that's not. No, it's not would have been lovely. Today will be lovely. It's motto as well. Okay, this is called Silence Now, How to Control Anger. This will fail. Incremental. Incremental steps. Incremental steps.
The master has mastered nature, not in the sense of conquering it, but of becoming it. In surrendering to the Tao, in giving up all concepts.
Manana. Manana. Calendar. So funny. Okay, this is Dao De Jing round 2. Hope you're enjoying this live stream. Daddy's back. Daddy's back. Okay, here we go. Great completion seems incomplete, yet its usefulness is never exhausted. Great fullness seems to be empty, yet its usefulness is never used up. Great straightness seems to be bent, great skill seems to be clumsy, great eloquence seems to stammer, great surplus seems to be lacking. Activity overcomes cold, tranquility overcomes heat. If you're quiet and tranquil, you can become the ruler of the world. When the world has the way, ambling horses are retired to fertilized fields. When the world lacks the way, war horses are reared in the suburbs. Of crimes, none is greater than having things that one desires. Of disasters, none is greater than not knowing when one has enough. Of defects, none brings more sorrow than the desire to attain. Therefore, the contentment one has when he knows that he has enough is abiding contentment indeed. No need to leave your door to know the whole world. Completion seems incomplete. The way gives birth to them, and virtue nourishes them. Substance give them form, and the unique capacities complete them. Therefore, the 10,000 things venerate the way and honor virtue. As for the veneration of the way and the honoring of virtue, no one rewards them for it. It's constantly so on its own. The way gives birth to them, nourishes them, matures them, completes them, breasts them, rears them, supports them, and protects them. It gives birth to them, but doesn't try to own them. It acts on their behalf, but doesn't make them dependent. It matures them, but doesn't rule them. This we call profound virtue. The world had a beginning, which can be considered the mother of the world. Having attained the mother in order to understand her children, if you return and hold on to the mother till the end of your life, you'll suffer no harm. Block up the holes, close the doors until the end of your life. You'll not labor. Open the holes. The way gives birth to the... Block up the holes, close the doors until the end of your life. You'll not labor. Open the holes, meddle in affairs until the end of your life. You'll not be saved. To perceive the small is called discernment. To hold on to the pliant is called strength. If you use the rays to return to the bright light, you'll not abandon your life to peril. This is called following the constant. Were I to have the least bit of knowledge in walking on a great road, it's only going to astray. It's only going astray that I would fear. The great way is very level, but people greatly delight in tortuous paths. The courts are swept very clean, while the fields are full of weeds, and the granaries are all empty. The clothing richly embroidered and colored, while at their waists they carry sharp swords. They gorge themselves on food and of possessions and goods that have plenty. This is called thievery. Lock up the whole. The courts are swept very clean, while the fields are full of weeds, and the granaries are all empty. The clothing richly embroidered and colored, while at the waist they carry sharp swords. They gorge themselves on food and of possessions and goods they have plenty. This is called thievery. Thievery certainly isn't the way. What is firmly set up can't be pulled down. What is firmly embraced cannot slip free. And your sons and grandsons, as a result, will sacrifice without end. When you cultivate it in your person, your virtue will then be genuine. When you cultivate it in your family, your virtue will then overflow. When you cultivate it in your village, your virtue will then be long-lasting. When you cultivate it in your state, your virtue will then be abundant. And when you cultivate it through the world, your virtue will then be widespread. Use the individual to examine the individual. Use the family to examine the family. Use the village to examine the village. The courts are swept very clean, while use the state to examine the state, and use the world to examine the world. How do I know that the world is so? By this. One who embraces the fullness of virtue can be compared to a newborn babe. Wasps and scorpions, snakes and vipers do not sting him. Birds of prey and fierce beasts do not seize him. His bones and muscles are weak and pliant, yet his grasp is firm. He does not yet know the meeting of male and female, yet his organ is aroused. This is because his essence is at its height. He can scream all day, yet he won't become hoarse. This is because his harmony is at its height. To know harmony is called the constant. To know the constant is called being wise. To add on to life is called a bad omen. For the mind to control the breath, it's called forcing things. When things reach the prime, they get old. This is called not the way. What is not the way will come to an early end. Those who know don't talk about it. Those who talk don't know about it. He blocks up his holes, closes his doors, softens the glare, settles the dust. Those who know don't talk about it. Those who talk don't know it. Blocks up the holes, closes his doors, softens the glare, settles the dust, files down the sharp edges, and unties the tangles. This is called profound union. Therefore, there is no way to get intimate with him, but there is also no way to shun him. There is no way to benefit him, but there is also no way to harm him. There is no way to ennoble him, but there is also no way to debase him. For this very reason he's the noblest thing in the world. Use the upright and correct to order the state. Use surprise tactics when you use troops. Use unconcern with affairs to take control of the world. How do I know that this is so? Those who know. Well, the more taboos and prohibitions there are in the world, the poorer the people will be. The more sharp weapons the people possess, the more muddled the states will be. The more knowledge and skill people have, the more novel things will appear. The more legal matters are made prominent, the more robbers and thieves there will be. Therefore the words of the sage say, I do nothing, and the people of themselves are transformed. I love tranquility, and the people of themselves are upright. I'm unconcerned with affairs, and the people of themselves become rich. I desire not to desire, and the people of themselves are genuine and simple like uncarved wood. When the government has muddled and confused, the people are genuine and sincere. When the government is discriminating and clear, the state is crafty and cunning. Disaster is that on which good fortune depends. Good fortune is that in which disaster is concealed. Who knows where it will end? For there is no fixed correct. The correct turns into the deviant, and good turns into evil. People's state of confusion has certainly existed for a long time. Therefore, be square but don't cut. Be sharp but don't stab. Be straightforward but not unrestrained. Be bright but don't dazzle. For ordering humanity and serving heaven, nothing so good as being sparing. For only if you are sparing can you therefore early submit to the way. Early submission, this is called to repeatedly accumulate virtue. If you repeatedly accumulate virtue, then there is nothing you can't overcome. When there is nothing you can't overcome, no one knows where it will end. When no one knows where it will end, you can possess the state. And when you possess the mother of the state, you can last a very long time. Fucking, I wonder how many people in government have read this book. Ruling a large state is like cooking small fish. When you use the way to govern the world, evil spirits won't have godlike power. Actually, it's not that evil spirits won't have godlike power, it's that the power will not harm men. But it's not just that their power won't harm men. The sage also will not harm them, since these two do not harm others. Therefore, the virtues intermingle and return to them. The large state is like the lower part of a river. It is the female of the world, it is the meeting point of the world. The female constantly overcomes the male with tranquility, because she is tranquil, therefore she is fittingly underneath the large state. If it is below the small state, then it takes over the small state. The small state, if it is below the large state, then it is taken over by the large state. Therefore, some by being low take over, and some by being low are taken over. Therefore, the large state merely desires to. Therefore, the large state merely desires to unite and rear others, while the small state merely desires to enter and serve others. If both get what they want, then the large state should fittingly be underneath. The way is that toward which all things flow. It is the treasure of the good man, and that which protects the bad. Beautiful words can be bought and sold. Honored deeds can be presented to others as gifts. Even with things that people regard as no good, will they be rejected? Therefore, when the Son of Heaven is being enthroned, or the three ministers installed, though you might salute them with discs of jade preceded by teams of 4 horses, that's not so good as sitting still and offering this. The reason why the ancients valued this, what was it? Did they not say, those who seek with this will attain, and those who commit offenses with this will escape? Therefore, it's the most valued thing in the world. Therefore, act without acting, serve without concern for affairs, find flavor in what has no flavor, regard the small as large and the few as many, and repay resentment with kindness, plan for the difficult while it is easy, act on the large while it's minute. The most difficult things in the world begin as things that are easy. The largest things in the world arise from the minute. Therefore, the sage to the end does not strive to do the great, and as a result, he is able to accomplish the great. Those who too lightly agree will necessarily be trusted by few, and those who regard many things as easy will necessarily end up with many difficulties. Therefore, even the sage regards things as difficult, and as a result, in the end, he has no difficulty. What is at rest is easy to hold. What has not yet given a sign is easy to plan for. The brittle is easily shattered. The minute is easily scattered.
Frank old age and death, which I mean works as an interesting, story, like to summarize what's going on there. But
agree. Like blindness to suffering in itself is suffering. So he being sheltered when he sees the Four Noble Truths, or Four Great Sciences, sorry. That's where he transforms into this shocked, depressed, becomes an ascetic for years, and then I never saw the book there actually. It's interesting. It's so big.
what's big? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I said I went and saw the book there actually.
I again didn't hear what you didn't see. Like, can you read it out?
It's a Bodhi tree, the one that Buddha meditated under.
Ah, the tree. Okay.
I just asked ChatGPT, tell me about the differences in the lives between Mahavira and Buddha, who are contemporaries of each other pretty much. Apparently, they were both born into royal families from Tijuti, both princely, and then they just both practiced extreme asceticism, but then Mahavira came to the conclusion that suffering is like we should just be utilitarians pretty much. Whereas Buddha had a sort of different way of thinking about it.
Yeah, I don't know if there's like for either of them, like for Macaware even more, like yes, historical like data or archaeology or something like that. Jainism is cool. No, like it's kind of unfortunate, at least from my perspective, that they don't have like a theist version. You know, in Buddhism, you have various metaphysics, like some are something that I think pretty clearly would fall under theism. Some are like agnostic, bordering on atheist. Some are like some weird like intersubjective idealist metaphysics. But Jainism doesn't have like the creative kind of breadth to it. It's just it's like this.
It doesn't deny it. It just doesn't have the Abrahamic version. Neither does Buddhism.
No, it doesn't have a God. Like, so they explicitly deny that there's a creator to the universe in general, or to any of the planes of the universe, or to any of the worlds within the planes of the universe. And they have a specific like claim that there's like I forget the number, but let's say for the sake of the conversation, 30. In Buddhism, it's 30. I don't know if it's the same in Jainism. They said there's these 30 planes. The top like I don't know, 15 are heavens, and then you have like one plane which is this material plane, and then you have 14 planes which are like the hell planes or the punishment planes, and you can get through those, and there's no cosmic being like doing anything, like it's just souls, like huge like number of souls, and they get reborn throughout these planes of this eternal universe. Whereas in Buddhism, in various schools, you do have cosmic beings. Like you have your cosmic, like primordial Buddha that's responsible for the Pure Lands and for like the true self, the root souls that exist, or the root minds that exist. And in some traditions, you basically have like a dualist. Like the opposite to this primordial Buddha is the Mara, who is like the embodiment of the entire samsara cycle, and the embodiment of death, and the embodiment of defilement. And there's a conflict between the two of them that is lasting however long the samsara is lasting. So yeah, you can get some like pretty theistic views within Buddhism, within Jainism. That's real.
I'm surprised that there isn't a more theistic version of Jainism, given that it feels like most people are drawn to theism. That some school would have been like, yeah, Jainism, except there's a God, too.
Great completion seems incomplete.
It's like, yeah, that's fine. Like we have this like mainstream school, but we know deeper truth. His predecessor,
Steve, mama chicken, yes, this is hell. Oh, mama, see the night you're ringing the bell.
No.
Crispy and juicy like you're having a snack.
Pretty cool. Idealist metaphysics. But Jainism doesn't have like the creative.
Do you guys have hypotheses for why
It's just
was so like religionogenic? Like why did Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and I'm sure other sects, like why they kept being generated?
up the holes, close the doors, block up. Okay, I'm going to end these recordings. I want to thank you for listening. This has been the Tao Te Ching. I'm probably going to come back live in another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to continue reading the Tao Te Ching for probably another hour before I head to the gym.
The master has mastered nature, not in the sense of
Great completion seems incomplete, yet its usefulness is never exhausted. Great fullness seems to be empty, yet its usefulness is never used up. Great straightness seems to be bent, great skill seems to be clumsy, great eloquence seems to stammer, great surplus seems to be lacking. Activity overcomes cold, tranquility overcomes heat. If you're quiet and tranquil, you can become the ruler of the world. When the world has the way, ambling horses are retired to fertilized fields. When the world lacks the way, war horses are reared in the suburbs. Of crimes, none is greater than having things that one desires. Of disasters, none is greater than not knowing when one has enough. Of defects, none brings more sorrow than the desire to attain. Therefore, the contentment one has when he knows that he has enough is abiding contentment indeed. No need. Great completion seems incomplete, yet its usefulness is never exhausted. Great fullness seems to be empty, yet its usefulness is never used up. Great straightness seems to be bent, great skill seems to be clumsy, great eloquence seems to stammer, great surplus seems to be lacking. Activity overcomes cold, tranquility overcomes heat. If you're quiet and tranquil, you can become the ruler of the world. When the world has the way, ambling horses are retired to fertilized fields. When the world lacks the way, war horses are reared in the suburbs. Of crimes, none is greater than having things that one desires. Of disasters, none is greater than not knowing when one has enough. Of defects, none brings more sorrow than the desire to attain. Therefore,